In module 1 of chapter 3, we shall discuss Lagrange's equation of motion of second kind. So far we have discussed Newton's equations of motion. It gives the relation between the applied force and the acquired acceleration, but it is undefined when there are some constant force, as the constant force are unknown. Lagrange's equation of motion of first kind gives some fresher way to overcome such situations, but it is a very tedious procedure. So we have to find some other way to overcome such situations, and we have to replace it by Lagrange's equation of motion of second kind. In this module, we shall discuss Lagrange's equation of motion of second kind. First of all, we shall discuss the necessity of Lagrange's equation of motion. Then we shall derive this equation for n degrees of freedom of a dynamical system. Later on, Lagrange's equation of motion for a holonomic dynamical system will be derived. In previous chapter, that is in chapter 2, we have discussed the detail about Lagrange's equation of motion of first kind and found that this equation is a decoupled equation. As a result, solution of such equation is very complicated in nature, so it is of little help. But if someone is able to solve this equation, then this equation provides good result. For this, we need another type of equation which is known as Lagrange's equation of motion of second kind. Let us derive this equation. Let Ri vector be the position of ith mass, that is mi. Then the position vector Ri vector can be written as a function of generalized coordinates small q1, q2 and so on qn. As we have mentioned that we are considering a dynamical system consisting of number of particles which are specified by the generalized coordinates q1, q2 up to qn. So Ri vector depends on these generalized coordinates. Now Ri vector dot, that is ddt of Ri vector, can be written as summation over j del del qj operated on Ri vector into qj dot plus del del t operated on Ri vector. Here we have used the chain rule of differentiation. Since Ri vector is a function of generalized coordinate qj, so at first we have differentiated Ri vector respect to qj partially, then differentiated qj with respect to time t. Ri vector dot is ddt of Ri vector, which is the ordinary derivative of Ri vector. Del del t of Ri vector is the partial derivative of Ri vector. Let us differentiate this equation with respect to qj dot. Then we get del del qj dot of Ri vector dot equal to del del qj of Ri vector. We get it from this term. This is independent of qj dot, so we get this one. This result is valid for j equal to 1, 2 up to n. If we differentiate Ri vector dot with respect to qj dot, then from this equation we get del del qj dot of Ri vector dot equal to del del qj of Ri vector. This result is valid for j equal to 1, 2 and so on small n. Please note that this term is independent of qj dot. So, we get this result from this term. Again, ddt of del ri vector del qj is equal to del del qj of ri vector dot. Here we have interchange ddt and del del qj operations, and interchanging this we get this result. From the generalized D'Alembert's principle, which is very important principle, and combination of virtual work principle and D'Alembert's principle gives summation over I fi vector minus mi into ri vector double dot delta ri vector equal to 0. Here fi vector is the externally applied force, mi into ri vector double dot, that is mass into acceleration, gives the internal force. So, fi vector minus mi ri vector double dot is the effective force, delta ri vector is the virtual displacement. We are considering the dot products of two vectors and taking the sum we get this is equal to 0. We get it from generalized D'Alembert's principle. From generalized D'Alembert's principle, we have summation over I fi vector minus mi into ri vector double dot delta ri vector equal to 0. Here we are considering the scalar product or dot product of two vector quantities. One is the effective force, which is the difference between externally applied force fi vector and mass into acceleration, which gives the internal force, and delta ri vector is the virtual displacement vector. Taking the sum of this, we get the virtual work done by the effective forces vanishes. We have already mentioned that fi vector is the external forces acting on the ith particle, that is mass mi, and delta ri vector is the virtual displacement. Delta indicates that we are considering displacement where the time does not change. If we separate these two terms, we get this. Since ri vector depends on the generalized coordinates q1, q2 up to qn, so we can calculate delta ri vector, which is the virtual displacement vector. Delta ri vector is given by summation over E del del qe of ri vector into delta qe, since ri vector is a function of generalized coordinates qe. Now, fi vector is the force, delta ri vector is the virtual displacement. So, this gives the virtual work done by the externally applied forces. Denoting this as delta W, W is the work done as we are considering virtual displacement, so we get virtual work done by the externally forces, which is the sum of I equal to 1 to capital N fi vector dot delta ri vector. If we replace delta ri vector using this expression, we get this result. Now, arranging these terms, we get this one. If we denote capital QE equal to summation over I fi vector dot del ri vector del QE, then we get this result, where capital QE is the generalized force associated with the generalized coordinate QE. Capital QE can be written as del del QE operated on work done W. This is the generalized force. We have already mentioned it. Now let us calculate the other part of the previous equation, that is summation over I mi ri vector double dot dot delta ri vector. Here we are considering the scalar product of two vector quantities, which is acceleration vector ri vector double dot and virtual displacement vector delta ri vector. If we substitute delta ri vector already obtained, then we get this result. Arranging these, we get this one. This can be written like this: ddt of summation over I mi ri vector dot del del QE of ri vector gives two terms, but here we have only one terms, so we have to subtract the extra term which is given here. Differentiating this, we get summation over I mi ri vector double dot del ri vector del QE. This is given here. Again from this we get, keeping this one fixed, differentiating this term, we get summation over I mi ri vector dot ddt of del QE of ri vector, which has been subtracted here. This term is written as it is. Here we have interchanged the ddt operation and del del QE operation. Interchanging this, we have written this term in this way. This term is again written as it is. This term, that is ddt of ri vector, can be written as ri vector dot. Here we have just written this one as ri vector dot and get this term. Now let us calculate the kinetic energy of the system. Kinetic energy of the system is denoted by capital T, which is half into mass into square of velocity. Ri vector dot is the velocity, so we get T equal to half summation over I mi ri vector dot its square. If we differentiate capital T with respect to QE dot partially, then we get del capital T del QE dot equal to summation over I mi ri vector dot del ri vector dot del QE dot. From this we get this result after differentiation. We have already obtained that del del QE dot of ri dot can be written as del del QE of ri vector. Here we have used the result and get this term. We have used this result here. Let us differentiate capital T with respect to QE partially, and we get summation over I mi ri vector dot del del QE of ri vector dot. Therefore, this term can be written like this. We have just substituted the result obtained here and here in the expression of this quantity and get the right hand side. If we substitute the result in the previous equation, we get summation over E capital Q suffix C minus ddt of del capital T del QE dot minus del capital T del QE into delta QE equal to 0. Here delta QE are the changes which are arbitrary and independent. So, we have capital QE minus ddt of del QE dot capital T minus del QE of capital T equal to 0. If the motion of a dynamical system is subjected to some constants, then all the coordinates are not independent. So, we need some independent coordinates to describe the configuration of a dynamical system. Also, to obtain a general equation of motion which is valid in any system, we need a set of independent coordinates. Let us obtain Lagrange's equation of motion for a system with n degrees of freedom. By degree of freedom, we mean that the position of the dynamical system can be specified by n generalized coordinates, and this is the minimum number which is required to specify the dynamical system. As the dynamical system has n degrees of freedom, so the coordinates are free coordinates and can be varied arbitrarily. Therefore, the coefficients of each term must vanish separately. Coefficient of each term in this equation must vanish separately. Therefore, we have from this equation capital Q suffix C minus ddt of del capital T del QE dot minus del capital T del QE equal to 0. Del capital T del QE denotes the partial derivative of kinetic energy T with respect to generalized coordinate QE. QE dot is the generalized velocity, capital T is the kinetic energy, small t is the time, capital Q suffix C is the generalized force associated with the generalized coordinate small QE. This equation is valid for E equal to 1, 2 and so on small n. Please note that we are considering a dynamical system of n degrees of freedom. That is why this equation is valid for E equal to 1, 2 up to small n. The previous equation can be written like this. We have just shifted this quantity on the right hand side and get this equation. These are the Lagrange's equations of motion valid for a dynamical system with n degrees of freedom. For a conservative system, we can write the generalized force capital Q suffix E as minus del QE operated on capital V, where V is the potential field which depends on generalized coordinate QE and time t. In a conservative system, the total energy, that is sum of kinetic energy and potential energy, remains constant. V is the potential function, we have already mentioned it. Thus, the Lagrange's equation of motion can be written in this form: ddt of del capital T del QE dot minus del capital T del QE equal to minus del del QE operated on capital V. Here we have just substituted the expression for capital QE and obtain this equation. T is the kinetic energy, V is the potential energy, small QE is the generalized coordinate, QE dot is the generalized velocity, T is the time. If we assume that capital V is independent of generalized velocity QE dot, then what happens? Let us discuss it. As V is independent of QE dot, so we can write this equation, this term of this equation in this way. Since V is independent of QE dot, so del del QE dot of V equal to 0. Shifting this term on the left hand side, we can combine this in this way. So, this equation can be rewritten like this. If we set T minus V equal to L, which is the Lagrangian of the system, then the above equation can be written as ddt of del L del QE dot minus del L del QE equal to 0. This equation holds for E equal to 1, 2 up to small n. L is the Lagrangian of the dynamical system, which is the difference between the kinetic energy and potential energy of that system. One can remark that if the system contains some forces which can be derived from a potential function and some other forces which cannot be derived from potential function, then Lagrange's equation of motion can be written as ddt of del del QE dot of L minus del del QE of capital L equal to capital QE dash. E varies from 1, 2 and so on small n. Here all the potential forces have been included in L and capital QE dash is the forces which cannot be derived from the potential function. L is the Lagrangian of the system. QE dash is known as non-potential forces. An example for such a system is the system containing frictional forces. Let us discuss Lagrange's equation of motion for holonomic dynamical system with k bilateral constants. At first, let us recall the bilateral constants. If in a constrained motion at each and every point on the constrained surface, forward and backward motions are possible, then the constant relations are expressed by equations. Such type of constants are known as bilateral constants. Here the generalized coordinates are connected by k independent relations given by f suffix j, function of generalized coordinates q1, q2 up to qn and time t equal to 0. Please note that we are considering a dynamical system having n degrees of freedom where there are k bilateral constants. These are the constant relations. J varies from 1, 2 up to k. K must be less than n. N indicates the degree of freedom of the system. Let us consider a virtual change of the system consistent with the constants. The term consistent with the constants mean without violating the constant relations. That is, as we are considering virtual change, we have to disallow the time and moreover we have to obey the restrictions or constraints imposed on the motion. Then the generalized coordinates q1, q2 up to qn are changed to q1 plus delta q1, q2 plus delta q2 up to qn plus delta qn. As we are considering virtual change, so we use Kronecker delta symbol. It means that delta q equal to dq when dt equal to 0, that is time remains fixed. Expanding fj, which is a function of q1 plus delta q1, q2 plus delta q2 up to qn plus delta qn and time t equal to 0, in a series we get this equation. Fj function of q1, q2 up to qn and time t plus summation over e del del qe operated on fj into delta qe plus terms of order delta qe square and higher orders equal to 0. It is given that this equal to 0. If we substitute this here and neglect the square and higher order terms as the changes are very small, we get summation over e del del qe of fj into delta qe equal to 0. This is valid for j equal to 1, 2 up to k. K must be less than n. N is the degree of freedom of the system. K is the number of bilateral constants imposed on the dynamical system. Now, the changes delta q1, delta q2 up to delta qk are not independent. Please note that. Since the constant relations are connected by these changes and we are considering k number of bilateral constants, so one cannot vary these changes arbitrarily. Therefore, we have to introduce k arbitrary parameters, say lambda 1, lambda 2 up to lambda k. Multiplying this equation by lambda j and summing over j, we get this result. This can be written in this way. If we add this with the Lagrange's equation of motion obtained previously, then we get this equation. We have already obtained this portion. Adding this one here, we get equation 1. Let us choose lambda 1, lambda 2 up to lambda k in such a way that the coefficients of delta q1, delta q2 up to delta qk vanish separately. Then we can write capital QE minus ddt of del capital T del QE dot minus del capital T del QE plus summation over j lambda j first order partial derivative of fj with respect to QE equal to 0. This equation is valid for E equal to 1, 2 up to k. Shifting this term in the right hand side, we can get this equation. So, equation 1 can be rewritten in this way. The variations delta q k plus 1, delta q k plus 2 up to delta qn are arbitrary and independent. Please note again that first k changes, that is delta q1, delta q2 up to delta qk, already their coefficients vanishes. Now remaining changes are delta q k plus 1, delta q k plus 2 up to delta qn. These variations are arbitrary and independent, so their coefficients must vanish. Thus we have capital QE minus ddt of del capital T del QE dot minus del capital T del QE plus summation over j lambda j del QE operated on fj equal to 0. This is valid for k plus 1, k plus 2 up to n. This can be written in this way. We have just shifted this portion, that is the portion within the second bracket on the right hand side, we get this result. Now combining equations 2 and 3 together, we get this equation, which is valid for E equal to 1, 2 up to n. These are known as Lagrange's equations of motion for a holonomic system having k bilateral constraints. There are n plus k unknown quantities, and these unknown quantities are q1, q2 up to qn, these n unknown quantities, and lambda 1, lambda 2 up to lambda k. This gives k unknown quantities. So we have n plus k unknown quantities. To solve these equations, there are n number of equations. We have to supply k number of constraint relations. If one can supply this, only then we can get the unique solution. Lagrange's equation of motion of first kind is a very tedious procedure. So we need to obtain another equation of motion, which is Lagrange's equation of motion of second kind. This has been discussed in this module. Moreover, it has been extended for holonomic system.